Let's dive deeper into the tumultuous times of Tim and Teo and extend each season, weaving in subplots, introducing recurring historical figures, and fleshing out Tim and Teo's journey to bring more layers to this adventure. Season 1. Accidental Adventurers. Timothy "Tim" Thackeray is a young historian drowning in the monotony of cataloguing relics in the British Museum's basement. Lonely and underappreciated, he stumbles upon an ancient pocket watch concealed within a dusty book that once belonged to his great-great-grandfather, a renowned, albeit mysterious, historian. Curiosity gets the best of him, and with a flick of the dial, he's transported to Paris, 1794, smack in the middle of the Reign of Terror. Episodes. Episode 1, The Accidental Revolutionary. Tim lands in Paris and immediately crosses paths with Theodora Teo Mercier, a quick-witted pickpocket who mistakes him for an aristocrat, snatching the watch right off him. Tim has to track her down, leading to a series of misunderstandings that plunge them into a full-blown revolutionary fervor. Teo realizes he's not only clueless but also lost and takes pity on him, reluctantly helping him recover the watch. They escape by the skin of their teeth, becoming reluctant partners. Episode 2, To Greece with Cunning. Fumbling with the watch's dial, they next find themselves in ancient Greece during the height of Athens' power. In trying to blend in, Tim and Teo accidentally get swept into a philosophical debate with Socrates. Teo is unimpressed by the lofty talk, but Tim is thrilled, until they get mistaken for Persian spies. Episode 4, The Great Pyramid Plight. The pair end up in ancient Egypt, where Teo's street smarts land her a role as a royal advisor, and Tim is mistaken for a builder. They become entangled in courtly conspiracies, with Teo seeing an opportunity to make some profit while Tim tries to avoid offending the gods. The whole episode culminates in a hilarious escape as they find themselves unintentionally stowed inside a sarcophagus. Episode 6, Samurai Shambles. Tim and Teo accidentally end up in feudal Japan. Teo is fascinated by the samurai culture, while Tim is horrified by the notion of being pulled into duels. After a series of mishaps, including Teo's attempt to barter with a feudal lord, they narrowly avoid sparking a civil conflict. Season finale. They return to Tim's time, 2023, to take a breather. Tim tries to part ways, but they both quickly realize they've grown too attached to their shared adventures. Teo, who never had roots, decides to stay for now, convincing Tim there's still so much to see. Season 2, Befriending History's Greats. Tim and Teo, now much closer, are beginning to understand the watch's power. They start to build a rapport with some historical figures, each adding their own quirks to the journey, but they also begin to realize that their actions may leave ripples across time. Episode 1, The Da Vinci Debacle. They land in Renaissance Italy, where Leonardo da Vinci is convinced they're messengers from the future. As Da Vinci sketches their magical inventions, Teo convinces Tim to play along, causing Da Vinci to start designing sketches of future devices. They narrowly avoid changing art history forever when Da Vinci nearly publishes his future machine designs, which they hilariously have to destroy. Episode 3, Mozart's Magical Opera. They wind up in Vienna, where Mozart is struggling with writer's block. Tim's love for music comes in handy as he inadvertently inspires Mozart with a few anachronistic tunes he hums to himself. Teo, meanwhile, manages to land a minor role in the opera house, and chaos ensues as she brings in street-style improvisations that nearly scandalize high society. Episode 5, The Mysterious Case of the Missing Manuscript. The duo arrives in medieval Baghdad, meeting a brilliant scholar at the House of Wisdom. When the scholar's precious manuscript goes missing, Teo's old thief instincts kick in, leading her on an investigation through the city's underbelly while Tim dives into deciphering ancient knowledge. Episode 9, To the Frontier. They land in the American Wild West, where Teo's talents truly shine. Tim tries his best to blend in, but struggles with the rough life, especially after Teo's negotiations put him in a high-stakes poker game. They end up aiding a town under siege, with Teo becoming a local legend and Tim inadvertently inspiring a gold rush. Season finale? They're brought back to Paris, Teo's home, where they glimpse her younger self. Teo's childhood is harsher than Tim ever imagined, and they part temporarily as she wrestles with unresolved family issues. Season 3, a heartfelt countdown. The watch's magic is fading, and Teo senses that her life in the 18th century is beckoning. This season is bittersweet, filled with final adventures and a growing sense of impending separation. Tim's feelings intensify, and Teo faces her fear of settling down in any one place. Episode 3, The Great Wall Gamble. They find themselves in ancient China, where they join workers building the Great Wall. Teo finds peace in working with her hands, contemplating the idea of belonging somewhere, while Tim, whose life has been rooted in the past, considers what a future with Teo might look like. Episode 6, The Rome Reunion. Back in ancient Rome, they encounter a senator who sees right through their anachronisms. He offers them a life of luxury if they'll share their future knowledge. Tim almost agrees, seeing it as a way to settle down with Teo, but Teo is uneasy. They turn down the offer, realizing they're not ready to anchor themselves in any one era. Episode 8, A Duel in 1920s, Harlem. They're transported to Harlem during the Harlem Renaissance, where Tim's love of history is revived in full force. They befriend poets and musicians, with Teo finally seeing a glimpse of Tim's deeper self. But as a mob boss catches on to their peculiar knowledge, they're forced into a daring escape. Season finale. Teo decides to return to her own time. They share an emotional farewell, with Tim heartbroken as he watches her fade away back into her past. Season 4, Tim's solitary saga. Tim tries to carry on with his life, but the thrill is gone. He's weighed down by memories of Teo and dreams of reuniting with her. He tries to decipher the watch's remaining mysteries and discovers it might hold one final leap. Episodes. Episode 4, A Letter Across Time. Tim tries sending a message through time, hoping to reach Teo in the 18th century. In the process, he stumbles upon letters Teo has hidden for him in various historical locations, guiding him on a treasure hunt across centuries. Episode 8, The Final Countdown. Tim finally uncovers the last secret of the watch, giving him one last chance to see Teo. He sets the dial and prepares for whatever might come, not knowing if she's waiting for him. Series finale. The last episode sees Tim transported back to a familiar Paris street, where he glimpses Teo. Both older and wiser, they share a silent recognition, knowing that no era, distance, or time can keep them apart. They walk off into the sunset, finally ready to face whatever comes together. Legacy. The tumultuous times of Tim and Teo becomes a journey of love, friendship, and the courage to live boldly, regardless of time or place.